to talk about it. You're not supposed. Enter madman, stage left. The audience rises and holds their breath. They let the vampires into their house, pretend they don't see when the teeth come out. Put a band-aid on their throat. No one wants to rock the boat, and no one wants to talk about it. You're not supposed to talk about it. The curtain rises and the players come out. Webs of lies spinning from their mouths. Stop looking, listen for a little while. Attention to the men behind the curtain. Just look away when you see the blood spurting down to a steady drip. I promise to leave you a little bit. I'll be back for another drink tomorrow. I love the taste of your terror and your sorrow bathing in your blood. It's never enough. On the face of all mankind, our numbers up and the dead won't sign. Go along to get along in the time by the siren song. The flames are empty and the crypts are cracking open. The hordes upon you and you stand there frozen, waiting for the word. Stand in line and wait. Don't follow the strings to find out who is pulling. Just drink your poison, keep on laughing and drooling, eating your own flesh. The master always knows what's best. Worldwide genocide. The overlords are hungry parasites. They point the finger and the eagles fly. Raining fire, children die. Starving plague, paralyzed. Pile of bodies rotten, covered in fire. But no one wants to talk about it. Strings, no more bowing to the masters. I tried to run, but they only came faster. Now I stand my ground. I ain't backing down. Silver bullets in my pistol, in my holster. My will is strengthened and my confidence is bolstered. Don't test my resolve. Don't test my resolve.
Hello and welcome to the Iron Mountain Hour. It is Sunday, March the 20th, 2022. My name is Cliff. I'm here with my buddy Tim.
Whoop whoop.
We are joining you from Carter County, Tennessee, live in the middle of the Iron Mountain, near Watauga Lake, if you aren't familiar with the area. Tim checking the audio, making sure we're all good there. We don't have producers and expensive sound rooms to make sure we're sounding
good.
good.
Spend a whole lot of money to make it look like we're poor.
That's
like
right.
that System of a Down album where it look like it's Sharpied.
Oh yeah.
That's what we're doing here. We're actually fantastically wealthy.
Yes, exactly. That's why we build our equipment a little bit at a time, and are using some donated equipment here, so appreciate you, Moose, for this microphone here that we're using, because
This is a Mooseophone?
that was a donated Moose microphone. He gave that to me.
Mooseophone.
Yes, a Mooseophone indeed. That's been very helpful to the show here, and even though I didn't get around to really doing much recording with it the way Moose intended,
Can they hear us?
I hope they can hear us.
Oh, yeah.
They should be able
I heard
to.
it on the track.
Yeah. You check.
Sorry, my bad, guys.
But yeah.
Tested for that.
But thanks, Moose, for the condenser microphone there, and thank you to B for she gave me the mixing board for my birthday or for Christmas here, so that's helped us sound better. And then Tim donated the what you call it? What do you call that thing? The interface.
Yamaha
Yeah.
interface.
Yeah. So we're using a lot of stuff here, and
If anybody's a amateur recorder, if they're wanting to get into amateur recording, and you're looking at that Scarlett Focusrite, there are more Scarlett Focusrite units in the world now than there are Gideon Bobbles and hotels. There's so many of those things.
Really?
Well, you see like 50 in every pawn shop. I would recommend the Yamaha board. It networks better. It's the knobs are more high quality. I've never had latency issues out of it. It is only 2 channels, but Focusrite's also 2. Back to you, Cliff. I just have an issue. There's so many of those Scarletts out there, man. There's so many of them.
no, you can run more than that in it though. I mean,
I think it's 4, but the top 2 are 1/4 inch. You see,
oh yeah,
stereo 1/4
yeah,
inch.
but it's
top 2
stereo
got.
out though.
So
Yeah,
the top 2, you do have 2 XLR ends.
gotcha.
But in recording, a lot of times you don't need more than that until you get in start doing drums.
True.
And something of that nature.
And then you can plug in a mixing board like that into it on the front end and run everything through that, right?
You could, but like I guess the problem you'd run into is with this, if you had, let's say, if you're just in a real simple drum set, 5 mics would cover something real super simple.
Mm-hmm.
You could run 5 into a stereo signal, but then you couldn't individually mix the drums. And
Oh,
both.
right, gotcha.
So your live set would be the only thing
It'd still
you would
have to come through that. Okay.
So in doing a live setup, if you were doing it all separate, you would want to have more microphones. But
Okay.
acoustic singer-songwriter, rapper, any of that stuff, that would be killer. Back to you, Cliff.
Yes. And so yeah, thank you for all that stuff to our viewers and friends of the show. We appreciate you, and we appreciate Moose for being on the show and B for chiming in and donating stuff for the show. So with that said, we've had some interesting stories in the news lately. We had kind of a controversy that I don't know that it's nationwide yet, but it seems like one of those times where Elizabethton or Carter County or our general area make the national news.
Did it make the national news?
I don't know if it has yet or not, but this is the kind of story for which we tend to make the national news when we do.
Well, at least it's not a racist Karen.
Yeah, that was immediately what I thought of when I said that down at the covered bridge last year. Yeah, so better to be known for this, I guess, because the idea is that a concerned citizen contacted the Freedom from Religion Foundation,
Okay.
wherever they're from. I'm not sure where they're based out
I
of,
have
but
not looked up their origin.
I've seen them in the news multiple times over the years, dozens of times probably. They usually come up when people are outraged over usually it's a statue or a piece of art or something, or
10 Commandments hanging on a courtroom.
yeah. So
something of that nature.
these are the people that are doing that sort of thing, and they're kind of going all over the country and trying to have things taken down, in some cases successfully.
You know what the big sour grape with that? Well, it's not sour grapes. I guess the big kick with that is if a community comes together and they say, hey, we see something we don't like. For example, maybe the community decides that the 10 Commandments don't belong in their courtroom.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, that Freedom from Religion Foundation has one concerned citizen that doesn't represent Carter County. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, Carter County. You know, so that's what the problem is. It's not representative of the area a lot of times.
I think so too. I think the whole idea of having state and county governments is so that the people in the local community can decide what they're going to do on it. And even if you get into law, originally the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, actually only applied to the federal government. Then when you had the 14th Amendment passed, that's when it went to applying to the state governments as well. But then in practice, and it was ruled several times, that actually that did not involve the First and Second Amendment. So guns were, if your state at that point wanted to ban guns, that's why you can still have really restrictive gun laws. And then, like in some cases, you can still have stings on the courthouse because the Supreme Court decided, I believe it was in 1819, shortly after the 14th Amendment, whenever it was, they decided that this didn't apply to the states for the first and second. But then you've got counties, which are a totally different thing. So this is what allows people in their local areas to organize with their communities and make the local laws, in a way that suits them. And one of those things is that this community tends to be majority Christian. So of course you would expect to see things like crosses up on a piece of land owned by the city, or 10 Commandments on the courthouse wall, or "In God We Trust," which is the state or the national motto, is it's by state law. It's in the schools. So you would expect that to see this in a place like this. And this law, by the way, this idea protects the ability of people from other religions too, such as if there's a large group of Muslims who want to have their own. They incorporate a city and they want to have a piece of Muslim art on the wall or something, that would be their freedom to do that too, as long as they aren't in violation of a state law. If we're going strictly by according to legal standards, but philosophically, I feel like communities have the right to kind of organize in a way that best suits them and the way that they live their lives. And even though I don't go to church and I'm not religious, and I do in some ways I try to live what would be considered a Christ-like life, but I'm not really concerned with following a lot of the rituals and dogma or anything like that of the religion. And I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm a believer, but the Christians who are believers and who are living the Christ-like lifestyle they've been upset about this, but they have not, the ones who are doing the protests around here anyway, have not been angry. But I'm kind of angry for them because, you're not allowed to be angry, really, Christians and church peoples, because if you're following Christ's teachings. But
if you've ever worked at a grocery store and you've worked on a Sunday, it's not going to apply. We got some angry Christians.
Well, there are some angry ones out there. That's for sure. But I think that it upsets me just because of an outside group who, when WJHL did this story on this, they did a really good job actually of. They pointed out some things to this lady from the Freedom from Religion organization that, for one, she had the wrong pictures of crosses on her website that she was referring to. This land wasn't actually owned by the city.
Yeah, they used that video too that was the wrong.
And it had a banner that said "Jesus is Lord," but this is on private land, so there was nothing that would even.
It's not the same mountain.
No, and then
not even spaced in the same direction. I'm sure anybody from here that watches this knows the mountain that we're talking about. That right there comes across as just lazy. But then again, you think when they looked up Elizabeth and crosses, they didn't think they would have an area that would have two mountains with giant crosses on them. They had never heard of an area so conservative before.
Right. Well, they showed the ones on the I guess that would be the north end of Elizabeth, and rather than the east side of Elizabeth, and that one on the east side of Elizabeth and Lynn Mountain that is owned by the city has a Christmas tree. And the Freedom from Religion organization, they said that they brought up a Supreme Court decision that points to, if you have another meaning, including a secular meaning for whatever that symbol is, that religious symbol, then it can be allowed under the First Amendment to stay. And in this case, the Christmas tree is a well-known, it's become a secular symbol for Christmas. Really, the three crosses are the religious symbol, and
if you're going to use that kind of
and really that would be more of an Easter, the three crosses.
That's what I'm saying. The three crosses you could say of Easter, but if they're going to say if you get the crosses and you take the three crosses down, it's a two-edged sword there, because then you could also argue that the Christmas tree represents the winter solstice with I guess what you call them, Germanic pagans that use the amanitas. So that's still a religious symbol if you consider that that's a ceremony. So I think that's what happens with now. with the Freedom from Religion Foundation, I think their main goal is no religion displayed anywhere at any point. And I get what they're saying, but at the same time, it's really dumb because if you have a citizen operated government and that's what they want, why are you bugging them?
Yep. Well, the Freedom from Religion lady that was on the WJHL report, WJHL asked her, and she didn't know which mountain she was talking about, and she had never been to Elizabethton, nor had anyone from the Freedom from Religion organization. Apparently, it was reported that a concerned citizen had contacted them. My wife said, "You better not let these good Christians find out who that was that contacted him." But no, it's just kind of another non-controversial controversy that shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a thing. This organization goes around and does this all over the place. If you ask me, they're basically like the Westboro Baptists of atheists. Just going around
obnoxious.
Just going around fucking with people for no good reason and trying to.
Well, I think it's no good reason. I do think.
No, I think there are cases, where.
Like, for example, the Westboro Baptist people, if you look up why they're doing it, their logic is pretty solid if you just look at it from a purely illogical interpretation.
Okay, well, tell me more
Bible.
about them because the
Westboro Baptist Church.
I'm judging them without research.
Okay, well, the Westboro Baptist Church, they would go out and protest things. So the reason they did it may have been effed up, but they were still holding true to what they were doing. So just like the Freedom from Religion, they don't want any. I just lost a lens. They don't want any religion involved in any form of government whatsoever.
Okay.
And so what they're doing in principle makes sense. It's just the principle is screwed up, is what I'm saying.
I get.
They are very identical to the Westboro Baptist Church. And what I'm saying is it makes sense why they're protesting. You're just trying to make senseless people make sense, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I guess you're right. I'm thinking of it. Okay, it is a good thing, I suppose, to have a group that does watch governments and make sure that you're not, someone's not getting in trouble for not being a member of the church, or for, some local citizen that the church is not running a mafia, or something like that. So it would be good to not have that going on and have an organization that watches out for stuff like that. But
it's kind of a difference between a watchdog organization and because I get a watchdog organization who would make sure that, and the only way I can argue this, so before people get mad at me, is if I try to take the opposing side. So if, for example, if you walk in and you find out a judge is using very strict religious rulings to make decisions about people because maybe he is being very judgy, you know what I'm saying? Maybe he's abusing his Christian views because he's super radicalized or something, and he's, you know what I'm saying? That because you can color the.
You got to watch out for those judgy judges. Yeah, you got to look out for stuff like that, and that's true. And we do need. I mean, theoretically, the Department of Justice should be where you would report things like that, and they should kind of watch that kind of stuff. But I don't know if they're actually effective at that. But at any rate, if you do have something like that going on, it's a good thing that you don't need that. It's not a good thing.
Where the watchdogs go is when they go ridiculous is where I think the problem is. People who miss the message. I think Freedom from Religion Foundation is once upon a time you really did need a watchdog to make sure people weren't abusing the authority that is religion when it's taken seriously. But that doesn't. I mean, there's a big difference in going around making sure that judges aren't being authoritarian, or maybe making sure the leader of the Catholic Church isn't giving special privileges to police officers or something crazy. But these are crosses on top of a mountain. I mean, maybe that's imposing to certain people. I can tell people from experience. I used to book really small time bands at the theater downtown.
Yeah. And
there was about not a single band that rolled through here that didn't say there are crosses everywhere on these mountains. Yeah. It really is stark to people when they come in here that aren't used to a very how would you say it? Just a very Christian area, because I guess people that don't get away from this area don't realize that there's not a church on every corner like there is here in Carter County.
Oh yeah, there's a whole lot of them, and we're talking about the size of Carter County, where the population haven't shrunk, but the number of churches, though, it used to be even higher. They've consolidated them into larger ones in a lot of cases, and the number of churches, there's a lot of them closed and abandoned now. So there used to actually be even more. And you're right, that's not like that everywhere else, but this is this town, you know, hasn't really grown, and you see city leaders trying to do something about that, and we'll get into that in just a minute. But real quick, I want to thank you for joining us. I want to ask you to please, if you're watching us, you know, sign in through an account through Google and subscribe to the channel, and give us the thumbs up on the video, chat, comment on the video if you're not watching it live. Get in here on this conversation with us and help us grow the channel some. If you're enjoying this kind of content, please share it with other people that you think might enjoy it, people who are into this kind of stuff. And do that with we're here every Sunday and Wednesday at 10 p.m. We're doing it live. We're going into the current events, and we'll usually have a topic for you on the weekends to get into. So please join us again, and thank you for joining us tonight, or whenever it is that you're watching this one. And let's make sure that one's working. There it is. We've got a couple cameras going here.
With the crosses, I have to comment. The video, the WJHL report, the guy says there's possible legal action.
Yeah. Well, maybe he, I don't know. Go ahead.
The odds that Ryan ran across this are I guess, slim. But Ryan, it's called fair use on the internet. Like, people can use your videos. Like, he was saying he was going to sue them for using his video. I mean, you can threaten to sue and then they can take it down, but the cost of suing someone to do that would be outrageous, and you really can't. Like, on the internet, is like, if you want to use something to
as long as you're not using it commercially, making a product out of it and selling it.
That's what I'm saying. They're not making money. I'm just saying online. I'm not litigating that Ryan should or shouldn't sue him. What I'm saying is he's not going to win that case, because in the internet, you got a guy up here.
Yeah.
In the world of the internet, you can't sue someone for using a video or image or even music, as long as there's commentary or it's used for entertainment or documentation purposes. Like, for example, when Cliff starts showing like WJHL and clips like that, they can't copyright strike him to take those down, because he's using it for educational purposes. So what they could argue against Ryan is they're using it for educational purposes to show people,
or documentary purposes.
Educational, to show people this is what's going on, and we have a right to rage against it.
We got a chat here from Pumpkin Spice. Thanks for commenting. Hey there. I'm interested to hear the discussion about the crosses, because honestly, I'm torn. Yeah, I can see that, because I do understand the First Amendment, and I understand why you don't want a religious authority running the local government. But at the same time, this is not really anything to do with governance. Really, it's just kind of a decoration that's been there. And
I think it's because it's on government property, and because it's a religious symbol. What I'm going to do to help people get this is, please, for the love of God, don't crucify me. A long time ago, for context, I guess I just did. Am I at the right camera?
You're right over here, buddy.
For context, let me get my little Mr. Rogers position here to talk to you. For context, I was raised in a very religious environment, as almost everybody here in Carter County or even in the South is. But mine was a little bit further than most people, I guess, think of when they think of church. It was a little bit more, a little bit more extreme than most people had to go through. And I was really young. That was one of the things about it. I couldn't rage. I couldn't rebel against the authority because I was so young. I didn't realize what was going on. But it was it was like one of those churches that just wanted to talk about the rapture every week. It was all the time. And so fast forward to many years later, when I started coming out of, because the balance is, before you start getting mad at me for not liking religion, it's not necessarily it wasn't necessarily that I needed to hate religion. I needed the option to not like it, so I could at least see the good in it again. Because, like, when you've had something forced on you for so long that you don't have an option to see the good in it, like, it makes you, it perverts and it makes you go in the other direction. And so instead of seeing something that does have value to it, it makes you rage against it and bitter against it. And so I had to quite literally go against everything that was, like, I guess, in my head for a little while, to where I could appreciate the concept of what Christianity really is about, which is forgiveness and, forgiveness in a nutshell.
Mainly.
And so for a really long time, for at least a couple of years, I would leave my house every day. And on the way to work, I had to drive by like 4 or 5 churches. What's that?
I'm going to switch you over here
Okay.
while I do that.
I had to go through like 4 or 5 churches on the way to work. And then you've got giant crosses over here. And then you've got giant crosses over here. Everywhere I looked, I had to see something that really I had grown to be just really pissed off about. But my issue with that is that's my problem. Do you see that? Like that, and I think that's what people have an issue with. I recognize that at one point in time, I actually did want those crosses pulled down, and that was my argument. It's on government land, all that stuff. But now I don't. It's not about that, because I'm over it. My issue is if I was still in that position where I did feel that way, where I'd want the crosses pulled down, I need to get over that, because I'm one person, and I think what modern people are going to have to deal with is you can't like expect the world to babysit what triggers you. You need to grow as a person and get over it. And so that's where my stance is in the cross. At one point in time, I did want them taken down, but now I look at it and it's like, if that's what the town wants, I have no problem with it. It doesn't trigger me anymore. But
Well, let me read a little bit of this here for you.
Trigger.
Let's get back. I want to get back in real quick to the legal aspect of it, because as I said earlier, originally, if we're going on the law, that's what they're wanting to. Whether or not you believe in the law, that's the situation that we're in, where we operate under this system. So, under the federal Constitution of the United States of America, the law is that we follow the First Amendment of the Bill of Rights. That's what they're going under. That's what they're basing all this. Let's read this real quick. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or the press, or the right of the people to peaceably assembly, or to petition the government for redress of grievances. So that means that Congress shall make no law respecting establishment of religion, right? It doesn't say that your state government. So until the 14th Amendment was passed, the state governments could actually violate these other amendments. Actually, I think it says until that they decided then that 1 and 2 were still able to be controlled by the state, and the rest of these the states were able to do these different things, but they didn't apply to them. But originally, the idea was that if you wanted to have a religious theosophy, or not theosophy, but what do you call it? Theocracy.
okay.
Of a state, that you were able to do that. That changed with the 14th Amendment, I think, for the most part.
Okay.
But anyway, this is local government that's doing this. So we live in the state of Tennessee. So if you go on the state of Tennessee's law, the state of Tennessee, this is actually the Declaration of Rights in the Tennessee Constitution. So we read one of the section 1 that basically says that if the government doesn't suit the people, that they may reform or abolish it in such a manner as they think proper. But let's go down here to section 3. This is Tennessee. That all men have a natural and indefeasible right to worship Almighty God according to the dictates of their own conscience, that no man can of right be compelled to attend, erect, or support any place of worship, or to maintain any minister against his consent, that no human authority can in any case whatever control or interfere with the rights of conscience, and that no preference shall ever be given by law to any religious establishment or mode of worship. Now in section 4, that no political or religious test other than an oath to support the Constitution of the United States and of this state shall ever be required as a qualification to any public office, or to any office or public trust under this state. And this right here, one more, let's see, the section 6, the right of trial by jury shall remain inviolate, and that no religious or political test shall ever be required as a qualification for jurors. So, the state constitution there is, it's pretty clear that you cannot use religious tests, and you cannot force people to worship. But then one thing that sounds like it could be a case made against it by these people. I don't know if I should put this up there because I might give them ammo, but to maintain any minister against his consent. No, that would be to hold a minister of a religion, wouldn't it?
Well, you got a point in the chat that I kind of agree with a little bit.
Yeah, let's hear that.
Pumpkin spice.
Pumpkin spice.
Read it off since you read better.
Okay, thanks for the comments, Pumpkin. It's not a war on Christianity. It's an effort to stop alienating non-believers by littering public places with religious symbols. Put it on private land, problem solved. From a cultural standpoint, I agree completely with keeping them in some capacity, even though they sort of make me cringe. Yeah, I'd say, Pumpkin, if it ends up becoming a main issue, then it's probably the city will give the land or sell the land to somebody, and then they will put the.
Do you think so? Though, what is part of that city? What's important about it? That
I don't know. They could. I don't
what
know.
else is up there?
I really don't know. But,
you take a trip with the Iron Mountain Hour.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's just that Christmas tree sign, and then there's the apartments over there on the other side of it.
Okay.
Because you'd hike right up there from the apartments. But yeah, I've heard people say things like, "Oh, they can't believe they have to look at that all the way through there."
Well, there's a way they can make money for the city right there. Sell it to a private individual, let them take care of it, and then we can use the money from selling the mountain to somebody else to.
Yeah, but it's up there with the Christmas tree.
Paint a monument or something.
Does the Christmas tree bother you, Pumpkin?
Oh yeah, does the Christmas tree bother anybody? That'd be a good question. I do think that we could do with new lights if we're going to try to sell Elizabethton as a tourist location. I think hanging 6 strands of blue and white lights beneath the covered bridge is a little lackluster.
Well, they light up that big old Fraser fir tree. Now that thing's the biggest. I think it's the tallest Fraser fir in North America, and I think it's or maybe it's the tallest decorated tree in the world and the second tallest in North America. Let's look it up real quick.
Now I know that I'm not trying to take too big of a dump on the Elizabethton lights and stuff. I recognize where we come from. All I'm suggesting, and plus I have seen over the last couple of years they've had those little donation buckets at a couple places. I know I saw them at Big John's Closeouts had the. Buy new lights for the Christmas thing. Mm-hmm. I guess my whole stance there is Christmas lights aren't that expensive. It seems like instead of buying new lights for all these really, really old, not very good looking decorations, we could just buy all brand new ones relatively cheap. I mean, have you seen the ones that dance to music that one group was doing for a while, and they realized they were cutting too deep into the profits of the racetrack, so they donated them to it?
No, I didn't see that.
Okay, well, as you were going to Bristol, as everybody knows, the racetrack has the Speedway and lights. Once upon a time, there was a campground on the way to Speedway and lights that's real close to the theater, the drive-in theater, and they had their own little version of the lights, right? And people would just drive down there, and it was a quick little thing, but they had spent a buttload of money on these little dancing lights that would go to play a song and they would just dance to it, make all these crazy patterns and stuff. And it did so well that people were opting to go there instead because it was more entertaining. Because Speedway and lights is the typical little Christmas bulbs, right? LEDs are not that expensive anymore, and they look so much better than little bulbs. I'm not suggesting we go full 20%.
Now, when was this?
It's been within the last decade.
Okay. I didn't realize.
And so now if you go to the Speedway and lights and you look at all those crazy LED lights jumping, that's where those lights came from. Usually they put them inside the actual racetrack and it plays one giant song across the side of the Speedway.
Oh, okay.
But all those lights used to be in a different location. And I'm suggesting if Elizabethton's serious about tourism, they just upgrade the lights altogether.
All right. Let's see if Pumpkin says the tree is gaudy, needs updates. You mean the one on top of the hill? Yeah, it's pretty rough. It's got some lights that usually go out on it, and I think they had them all going this year.
We could use reverse psychology and start calling it the Elizabethan Demon Pyramid. Be like,
But also, Pumpkin, real quick on the point that the lady from the Freedom from Religion organization made, if there's a secular meaning for it, then it's allowed to stay according to the Supreme Court, and I'm pretty sure this is on a state level. I don't think it's on the county or city level, but I could be mistaken.
That's a gray area, though,
But yeah, that's what I was going to say. But any that tree goes back past Christmas, just like the cross goes back before Christmas. I mean, these symbols and signs can all mean something else. So they mean what you think they mean. So I mean, ultimately, in my opinion, it could be anything, and I don't let it bother me, but.
I don't either. I guess the more interesting part of the conversation, I think my main point of the conversation is people who don't live here reaching. That's why I was trying to do the devil's advocate, because I think I'm probably one of the only people that would intelligently give a case against it, even though I'm like, make them 6 feet bigger.
Pumpkin says, I miss the Satan lights. I think if he or she, I'm imagining Pumpkin's a she, but I don't know.
Do you remember the devil light?
Yeah. Well, the guy over there on the Valley Forge Highway.
But by the way,
that guy.
Elizabethan created him, by the way. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that
him.
guy, because I used to like to stop and talk to that guy from time to time. He reached out to me because tree's pagan, absolutely, yeah. So do we take down the tree too because it's pagan? I think
that's what freedom of religion would want, though.
I think that's where we would end up, and I think that the tree has a secular symbol, obviously, as being part of Christmas, just like Easter's a nationally celebrated holiday. The three crosses are obviously the Easter celebration, so you could tie it to that anyway. But for whatever reason, this group has decided to take him down. I guess Pumpkin agrees with him, and I think that's all right. But there's plenty of places where there's not crossings everywhere.
Pumpkin is from here, though.
Yeah, is that right?
So, for example, if Pumpkin Spice here, decided that they were going to lead this themselves, I actually would not even be getting involved, because my issue is the Freedom from Religion Foundation is not from here, so I just want.
Well, somebody from here did contact them. Maybe it was Pumpkin.
Okay, well, maybe it is.
No, she said, here she says it honestly doesn't bother me, or they say it honestly doesn't bother me. But if we want to be welcoming, then the crosses are not the way to do it. Okay, I
kind of agree with
I can see that, but I think a lot of people who don't want to be welcoming, I'm kind of one of them. But
yeah, there's that side too, where a lot of people don't want the newbies coming in here because they want this to be the bubble.
Maybe those crosses keep people that annoy me away. Even if I don't necessarily, subscribe to the beliefs of a lot of the people, I think the guy that they showed on the news that I got a kick out of him, because he said, what was it? He said, I know not everybody believes it, but some of us do. I think they should. I hope they'll let them stay. I said, all right, this guy's all right. That's a good way to put it. I hope they'll let him stay. And see, he wasn't too torn up about it anyway. I think there are some people that are angry, but mostly, like you said, it's because a group from out of town is trying to come and change the way they're doing something.
Maybe they wanted to get the Freedom from Religion Foundation involved because maybe they felt too intimidated to speak up.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah,
that too.
Yeah, it'd be hard. I think they reported it to the city, and the city didn't respond to the report or whatever. Oh. Pumpkin says they're kind of on the fence. I try to be fair. Yeah, I'm the same way. I try to look at what the law actually is and what is kind of the right thing to do. Newbies are necessary to keep the city from dying out. Well, we seem to get newbies kind of pouring in as the people leave. So we've kept maintaining the same population Elizabethton has roughly for like 40 years.
I'm on the fence with this idea too, because if you'll notice, I'll speak as an unbiased person.
I keep speaking to the wrong camera.
I'm just going to speak straight ahead, and you can look at whatever ear that you like. I was thinking about moving for quite a while, just because of more opportunities in other places. But now there's a lot of work. There's a lot of people coming here, and now suddenly, there's a lot more opportunities for entertainment. So I'm getting a lot more work now. So it makes more sense to hang around. But the consensus for a lot of people who had no plans for going anywhere during the, I guess I'll call it the pandemic exodus, with all the people coming here. Because I recognize it when it first started. People started coming here because we were locked down, and they went, oh, it's not too bad here, and it's pretty affordable. I think I'll stay.
Yeah. And
now a bunch of people are having the same idea. I think the issue is a lot of people that were raised here now, who are maybe on the right or maybe even in the middle, are worried that a lot of people who essentially voted their state into a really bad location are going to come here and have that same attitude. Does that kind of sum up?
I think there is some of that. I do see, and my job, so this effort to remove them was not locally initiated. No, I do think someone local called Freedom from Religion to do it. I think people are still aggravated that it's an outside group that's never been to Elizabethton, who, admittedly had never been to Elizabethton, and then they picked the wrong mountain. It seems, didn't know which land they were talking about. So I don't know that it had Jesus as Lord on the one that they thought they were talking about, but that one's actually not on.
So that would be in violation, though, right?
Pumpkin Spice says, when that casino comes, things will change. Gird your loins, boys. Yeah, I've said dude, they're going to have to get rid of. They're going to have to legalize drugs and legalize prostitution around here, or the casino. The cops will do nothing but mess with the drug and prostitution around the casinos.
Man, I gotta speak in praise of it, because like, if you go to areas like, for example, Vegas, or even like, for example, like the casinos in Greektown up in Michigan, or is that Michigan? Detroit. They're actually where that's all the stuff is located. Yeah. It's actually one of the safer spots. So, like, I guess people are thinking, like, when the casino hits Bristol, it's going to look like Biff Tannen. Like,
that's one of the things I imagine,
It's not, like, there's so much money located there that they have private security.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, you feel very safe in Vegas most of the time, even around the sketchy locations. Not necessarily Fremont Street, but casinos, I guess what more people are arguing is, like, the proximity near the casino might attract some scuzz. Yeah. But, I mean, this is 2022. Do you really think people need a reason to be scuzzy these days? I mean, I guess that's kind of my argument.
Well, no, but I guess, people will come from out of town, and when you have big money, they can. Pumpkin says, I'm a lefty, born and raised here, an atheist. I get sick of Christians acting like they have the only thing going on. Well, thanks for tuning in, Pumpkin Spice. We're not really. We get accused by lefties of being right wingers, and we get accused by right wingers of being liberals all the time.
People can't figure us out.
Yeah, we both have a lot in common with both sides. Pumpkin says, but we have roots to protect, and now's the time to do that. Yeah, so that's I'm right there with you, bud.
Well, I guess to go back to what they were saying originally was. Because I was saying people are afraid of new people coming here because it's going to change the ways. Yeah. If it weren't for people migrating here, a lot of this new business and stuff that we have wouldn't be here, because it's not all like. Well, I'll say, like for example, Tennessee Hills, the Callahans are local. They were from Jonesboro, and they're building their own business. And I know the guy that does Johnson City Brewing is actually from there. So I'm not saying that not everybody is not from here. But a lot of the people that are now investing in the Tri-Cities are from outside the area, because they're taking it. So without those new people coming in, you would also not have that growth. So I guess what people are asking for without having the new people come here is stagnation. So well, a point, I guess.
No, I see what you mean. Pumpkin says that legal weed though. I'm I'm not all the way lefty. I try to be objective. Yeah, same here. I try to look at the side of everything. I try to, not always not that I don't think what the law is always the right thing, but I do try to always look at that, because that's what'll get you put in jail, or that's what'll get you sued, or whatever. Whether it's right or wrong, that's the set of rules that we live under pretty much. So I try to look at things that way, and I try to look at things again philosophically, objectively too. But I'm mostly for individual freedom and individual rights, and that includes the right of people to organize in one way or another. But I don't think you have a right to organize and then take advantage of someone or force someone else to do something. So that's kind of how democracy works, though. And so that's the system that we end up living under a lot of times, is people vote things that we don't necessarily agree with, and we have to go along with them, or face the consequences, legally speaking, or in some cases socially speaking. But Pumpkin, you mentioned that legal weed, though. That's something that I see actually coming along sooner than later now. For the longest time, people have been telling me my whole life that it's going to be a long time in Tennessee. But I think with Virginia legalizing recreational use here recently, the Republicans in Virginia actually halted the retail sale of recreational marijuana. So that's unfortunate for them, but it's still legal in the state now. So you can grow your own, and you can carry your own, as long as you're not getting stoned and driving. Then
I think it's going to happen with I think my issue, or not my issue, I guess it's just to bring this up. Like, the issue in Tennessee is Tennessee is basically is becoming more and clustered by states that are going to be full legal before Tennessee is. But Tennessee is in this weird position where they're coming up with new strands of Delta like they're curing cancer. Like they've got a 9, they've got a 10, they've got an O, they've got a HCC or something. And it's like,
no, you can buy legal stuff and that'll get you high as hell in the gas stations and the cigar shops and things like that.
But enough of it might as well be, and I think it's putting cannabis in general in a very strange position because
where it's halfway legal.
Well, consider this.
Pumpkin says thank you, Virginia. I agree.
Well, consider this. The stuff that they do to make Delta 9 or to make Delta 8 in the first place is like if you do that to 9, it's no longer even considered 9. Like they're doing so much modification to it that by the time they actually get to modifying 9 itself, like I don't know, I don't even know what to make of what they're even doing now because I knew what Delta 8 was a long time ago, but I didn't realize they were going to like hack the system and just start making it
it's naturally in cannabis,
it's
is it
in
not?
the stem.
But what are they doing to?
They found Delta 8 from some like moss in New Zealand, but the problem with it is with like I don't know if you've ever seen pot trees, but they can get huge. So it's a lot of stuff. Like Medulla mugwort's like this big, even if that's the right plant. I just know it's this tiny little thing that's close to Delta 9. So potheads in pothead fashion said, all right, Delta 9's not legal. Let's take a carbon off and instead of it being Delta 9, it's now Delta 8. That's where Delta 10 comes from because Delta 9 is not legal. Let's add one.
Yeah, because that's
10.
For those who don't know, it's the THC what is it? Tetrahydrocannabinol Delta 9 is specifically illegal under federal and state law.
Less than 0.03%.
Yes, it's not the actual marijuana or cannabis itself. It's the tetrahydrocannabinol Delta 9 that is actually illegal. So these people have found a way to genetically modify their marijuana to grow it or chemically modify.
Well, you can't. They haven't grown weed.
Have they just extracted it from a non-type THC?
They take 9 and they make a Delta 8 concentrate. They extract it so it's not illegal, right? And then that way to where you can smoke it. Like if you're interested in Delta 8 and you've not tried it, get either the vape pens or the edibles, because if you buy the actual, I guess the flower, what you're doing is you're buying hemp. And then they take Delta 8 spray and they just hose it down. So you can't. There's no such thing as Delta 8 flower. All that is hemp flower sprayed with Delta 8. So once you get down inside of it, there's not even like Delta 8 down the side of that hemp at that point. So that's the reason that the Delta 8 industry fascinates me so much, is because there's so much loophole and chemistry involved. It's just really interesting because by the time legal weed does hit Tennessee, they're going to start applying those same techniques and make some kind of weed that just makes you go zero to Snoop Dogg, I guess. I don't know. We moving on to some witchy stuff.
Not quite yet. I was well, I guess we can. I was going to say I was going to get into another little bit because Pumpkin says agricultural boosts would be cool. Where there's a system, there are hackers. It is known, yes, and as we said, you can't stop the signal. And isolating, yes, isolating it is. I guess she means, or he, or they mean that it is isolating our area by not participating in that.
You mean with cannabis?
Yeah. So here we got from the Johnson City Press. We got. Come on, work with me now, computer. Or OBS program. We're gonna have to do.
Says no. I think we also need to consider that I'm actually a little bit proud. Well, no, I'm not proud. Slightly proud that Elizabeth is accepting the Delta 8 stores as much as they are, because we've not even had like liquor stores for long, considering how long liquor's been legal this time.
That's true. Well.
Hotkeys acting a fool again.
I guess they're not working on the Cam 2 setup, so we'll have to switch back to the main camera setup to get now it's working. Look, on Cam 2. I guess we'll have to switch back to the main cam.
What we'll start doing is after each episode, we shall remove our underwear and we will auction them off for huffers. To fund you a new computer.
There's nothing wrong with this computer. It's a OBS program, man. It's buggy, yeah.
Okay.
It's buggy. They update it and work on it all the time, but it does it does get a little iffy sometimes.
No, I can't say anything 'cause I can't use OBS at all.
So let's look at this. There we go. Surf Betsy gets a chance to see draft of Whitewater Park proposals. So,
Where's that going to be at?
well, everybody's pretty excited about this. That's what they're talking about.
Is this Wesley?
What?
Wesley Bradley. Yes.
Wes Bradley, yes.
Mr. West is despite his very IT appearance, is into a lot of extreme sporting and stuff. He used to do a lot of kayaking and stuff back when I knew him.
Okay. Well, that might be why he's having to do with this.
He'll
This
be the
is
one to ask. He's been doing it a long time.
Elizabeth and the members of Surf Betsy Advisory Board recently had the chance to review and comment on a 38-page report as a Phase 1 evaluation of alternative locations for proposed Whitewater Park on the Doe or Watauga Rivers in Elizabethton. The report was created by River Restorations. Now, they hired them to look at them to see how they could kind of like cut away the river to make a water park and rebuild it. Let's see if I can find this. I thought this article showed one that they visited in North Carolina that I guess it wasn't this article. But let's see if it's Johnson City Press has it here. But they visited or WJHL, they visited a water park somewhere in North Carolina and decided that they wanted to, maybe this is it right here.
Surf Betsy Water.
They decided it'd be a lot of way to bring a lot of money in, and they say it's
supposed to be over up at the lake.
That's on one of the rivers. It's going to be on one of the rivers. That's why they hired that team. They gave them $38,000 of city money to come in and look at the rivers and see where they'd like to put it.
Okay.
Now, I kind of this is another one of those ideas like punking on the crosses. I'm torn on because I don't.
As soon as you said river, I got a little bit torn.
Well,
I mess with the ecosystem there.
But I mean, people sell the CBD as a way of dipping a toe in the weed pole. Ew, I mean, people sell jarred farts. So hustle it, fellers.
The underwear.
That surf, yeah, that Surf Betsy initiative confuses me a bit. Yeah, I don't know about that because, yeah, I'm all for like bringing some jobs here and everything, but I don't like that. I'd much rather, I don't know, it seems like a manufacturing facility or something might be better in some of the empty buildings we've got rather than something that's going to, think about how crowded our city is already trying to drive through it.
Yet.
Well, I don't know, maybe not manufacturing, but we've got a lot of empty manufacturing facilities in that town. But there's I don't know about attracting that much tourism to this area because I'm not sure we're capable of handling it. And when you start bringing in more people, you're going to have to upgrade infrastructure. You're going to have to,
It's
widen.
planned,
Yeah, they're looking at widening everything.
It's all planned.
Yeah,
Is what I'm saying. Like people with money, they don't start investing money unless they think that could possibly go somewhere. And with the way the Tri-Cities is just growing as a whole, it really looks like there's some people who are looking at the Tri-Cities topographically and they're thinking about where they could put things. Because I'm telling you, there's so many strings being pulled. It's really blowing my mind.
See, I'm pretty sure that they've gone through this. Look at this. We got they're creating a business plan and working on.
I know that.
Let's see. That's down there behind the
Baseball field, right?
behind the Twins field. Yeah, I figured that would be one of the areas they'd look at. And then they said they're looking at putting 2 rapids in the covered bridge. What the fuck are you people doing? I mean, how much do you think that's really gonna? Is this what you want from Elizabethton? I mean,
yes. Whether they want it from Elizabeth or not, and whether I want it from Elizabeth or not, that is where the culture's going. Is stuff like that. It's a really I could go on a societal rant, but I could see how that would actually work for people to come to Elizabeth and for almost like gentrified out.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to keep people here who live here necessarily. I mean, are you going to stay here because? I mean, sure, some people will get jobs there, but I don't think it's going to be enough to. It's looking at bringing in tourist money. That's the idea. Yeah.
Not that many jobs.
So let's produce some goods in all those empty spaces, create jobs. Yeah, for real. Traffic is already pretty stupid. As I've talked about on, this is Punkin still talking, I don't like the water park thing. I don't think I like the water park thing. I don't either. By the bridge, yeah, that's crazy. This was from an article from, this was from WJHL. I'll share it in the description here. But he says Riverside Park is the first area. That's the little park down there behind the Twins field. And then if you look out the river, that's where they start looking at putting some of those rapids. And the covered bridge is a little further in the city, and they're looking at putting 2 rapids up there. And
point out that that's not too far away from a location where several kids have drowned due to the undercurrent. I don't want to name drop it. I'm pretty sure it was there was a teacher named Miss Sahowski.
Yeah, one of her boys did.
Down there.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they want it there, because it's appropriately rapidy. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think they have to rebuild the river basically to make it work for rapids.
Isn't there something?
But that one does get pretty rapidy sometimes. I mean, I've come down through there in a raft, and it'll turn you sideways a little bit. It's not like
there's some
a real
kind of
heavy
law
one, but
where you can't mess with the rivers, though, because I remember there.
I don't know. TVA pretty much runs Tennessee.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you look by, there's river laws. There's a church called First Assembly of God over on 19E. I went there when I was a kid. If you look behind, there's a road run behind. There's buildings, the houses there. No, they weren't there. Only one here and one here. Mm-hmm. There's a dock there that runs out in the river, and they asked the church. The church owned that land. Dude said, "Hey, I want to build a dock here. Can I do it? I'll let you kids stand on it if they wanted to. If I just can build it, I want to fish off of it." And they did it. And the government, I think it was like the Fed or somebody, came down there and really came down on them because they built a dock into the river, and you're not supposed to, it's considered altering.
It can only go so far, yeah.
Yeah, it's considered altering the course of a river, so you quite literally have to get a lot of government agencies involved if you're going to start creating rapids inside of a river.
I'm going to close the Discord. Nobody in here tonight. It might be making my computer run up. Usually doesn't.
Your computer's about to take off.
Yeah, it usually doesn't get very loud running this program. Maybe it's because I'm recording tonight. But I think we're coming through on the stream. Pumpkin Spice says, "Hey, Moose."
There's Moose. Moose.
A shout out for Moose.
Moose.
Howdy, Moose. He's in the chat.
Moose, I need you to send us a picture of that guitar body. I want to see what you've done with it. Or better yet, make a video of you twanging, banging it.
Yeah, that's right. I wonder what it... I've not... Moose, unfortunately, I have not put the tubes in that Fender amp that you've sent me for Christmas. I'm such a terrible person. Thank you for the tubes. Need to put them in there. I got this other little K amp. I should have showed you that. I need to replace the tubes in it, and I think it'll work. Pumpkin Spice says, "Oh no, I'll have to get me and Bestie down to the town hall meetings or something. I hate to admit we're not very involved citizens." Yeah, unfortunately, we're all kind of that way. I mean, I've never been to a county commission meeting. Yeah. I don't have any. I don't know if I could go talk at the city council because I'm not an Elizabethton citizen. Fish and game folks are fed, right? Yeah, we got federal wildlife and Tennessee Wildlife Resources agencies who are over that. So you've got both. We got like the federal fish hatchery, and so they split up some of it. So you've got TWRA police up on the lake. You also have TVA police that do that kind of stuff. A lot of different enforcement agencies.
Are we going to do a sheriff topic?
Yeah, I want to. I need to get. Need to get into the constitutional sheriff. I was hoping I could get a couple sheriffs on.
Who's besides Lance?
Moose says he peed in the river. Oh yes, I've peed in the river many times, many times. Thank you for that contribution, Moose, to the river and to the program. We do need to do a sheriff episode because we have the sheriffs coming up, and I want to get into the constitutional sheriff and what the role of the sheriff is legally. And this is one of the things I actually happen to agree with the Constitution on, because a lot of them I don't agree with the Constitution on. I think it should be a more loose confederation of states than even the Constitution.
We calling ourselves the Iron Mountain Rajneeshis. I don't know if that would make any sense. There was a group of essentially like a Hindu cult that took over an entire town in Oregon, called the Rajneeshis, and we could take over Elizabethton just by being the only people to show up.
There you go. Yeah, that's really all you'd have to do is have enough people go down there, and you can incorporate new townships too with I don't know, a certain number of people in a certain geographical area that you have in common. Yeah, but so it'd be a lot easier just to get to gather some people up and go down to this town council meeting. Again, I'm not a citizen of the town, but I'm a citizen of the county, so. Technically speaking, I'm a citizen of the county, but Pumpkin says, "I have no clue who to vote for, even when it is." Yeah, I don't know where you can find out much about these sheriff candidates, and I was hoping to get some of them on. I haven't contacted them yet. I guess I need to do that, but the sheriffs, we got Dexter Lunsford in the Republican primary. He's running against Mike Fraley, Rocky Croy, Kim Birchfield, and Tom Smith.
I've heard. I'm pretty sure Kim Birchfield and Rocky Croy have ran before.
Kim Birchfield has ran a bunch of times. He ran against Mathis several times. He ran against whoever Lunsford, who's in there now. Bog and Beef.
Go ahead. Sorry, I picture his name, but I knew the guy that was running, but I can't think of his name now. It was a pretty heated battle last time when it came down because everybody was after
Chris Mathis.
Everybody was after Mathis because that was right after the
Who was
New
the
Year's
other
Eve
guy?
incident.
Chris Mathis was who was the Lunsford and
Rocky Croy, Lunsford, and there was another guy.
it wasn't Kim Birchfield.
It may have been Kim Birchfield too, but there was one more dude. It was he used to be a pastor, and his daughter was a girl that went to school.
Oh
I can't think of
yeah, I
his
can't remember
name.
who that was either. But either way, I don't really know what a lot of these what are these sheriffs and what their position is. And then in Washington County, I know there's Templeton and Lita Lightning. Lita Lightning is her name, and she's got a lightning bolt as her logo. And
Beast.
yeah. That wasn't there something that was like Satan is lightning from heaven or something like
Or
that.
cast Satan from heaven like lightning. I
Yeah,
think
that's what it was. Yeah.
It's either Revelation or Daniel,
Let's see here.
which is obviously a good reason for us to burn Harry Potter books. It's got lightning bolts.
So speaking of signs from the heavens and strikes to the head, have you ever heard of Baba Vanga, the Bulgarian mystic? Or I guess she's was the Ottoman Empire. When she was born at in Sturmica in a village. It was in the Ottoman Empire at the time. It was in the Balkans basically, and she died in 1996. But when she was a little girl, she had a pretty hard upbringing, and when she was young, she was thrown, she says, by a tornado, and when she landed, they knocked her out cold, and they had to come searching for her, and she had so much sand and dirt in her eyes that she couldn't see, and her family didn't have enough money to pay for the whole operation to fill her sight, to fix her sight, so they paid for what they could afford, and she was she healed, but she was blind for the rest of her life, and she gradually went blind afterwards. But she was dubbed the Nostradamus from the Balkans. That's when she's said to have gained her powers or whatever. It was
By losing her sight.
yeah, her first vision was during the days she was missing, when she was knocked out by the tornado, and she said she was she would also gain the ability to heal people and predict the future after this, she says. And let's pull up a picture of Miss Baba Vanga. Come on, computer. Come on, program. Do I not have that? Maybe I hadn't set the hotkey up on that camera. Maybe that's what it is. It'd probably be it, because that...
Playing blade moment when you realize the engine doesn't work because it's out of gas.
No, because look, it's showing that it's on right there. But it's not
Yeah, I
on.
think it just doesn't like what it...
Anyway, let's pull Baba Vanga up here. We'll show display capture the manual way. Or maybe it's just not working. There we go. You can see Baba Vanga, the blind
I vote
lady.
for no sheriff.
Yeah, well, I think if we had a sheriff that understood what a sheriff's actually supposed to be, I think we would
How
appreciate
is
the sheriff.
Lunsford? Is he a bad sheriff?
I really don't know. I know there hasn't been. I've noticed for one thing that they've not been pulling over for a lot of people for speeding. They unless you're going pretty fast, but they've let people go 5-10 miles an hour over. They're not setting up speed traps, and they're not really doing. Now, some people would argue this is a bad thing, but I don't see them doing many marijuana busts in the busted paper. Usually if they get somebody for marijuana, it's because they've done something else, and then they just added that charge onto them. And that's that's how I would, if you have to follow the state law and arrest people for that, that's the way I'd like to see it done. But it is the state law that you can't actually arrest anybody for under 14 grams of marijuana now. You just write them a ticket, and they won't even send it off to get it tested if it's under 14 grams, because there's just been too much of it. So I think they've pretty much in practice stopped enforcing small amounts of marijuana, and I think there's some people who've complained about Lunsford not enforcing drug stuff enough, and
It doesn't make sense to me because they want to complain about Lunsford not enforcing drug stuff. But, I mean, it seems like he's focused less on the weed people and gone more after the harder stuff. And I'm not even sure necessarily that's as far as you want to go with it. But, man, is it not obnoxious? I don't know, I really do stand in that stance where I feel like you could spend resources on so much better stuff than trying to catch like weed. And I am so glad they've stopped doing some speeding stuff because I've been in Bristol a lot lately, and there are so many cops over in Bristol. It is insane. Like to the point where it's like I know I'm not doing anything wrong, but I still feel nervous because there's so many cops. It's weird.
I went by an area in Johnson City on Legion Street the other day, and there were 3 cops standing up there with radar machines and looking, hitting all the different angles where people were going. And then there were like 5 cop cars parked around the area just waiting on them to radio them and say, go get this car. I mean,
although a low amount of local cops does increase the amount of state troopers you get, though.
A low amount, yeah. So, well, maybe they
allocated to make up because they're on the highway, right?
I don't know. I don't really like the idea of having speed limits and traffic laws myself. I think there's
none.
Well, yeah, I tend to think roundabouts and a lane to drive in be pretty much as far as you need to go. And I mean, in residential limits, I guess areas, I guess you would have to have some sort of speed limit. But the thing is, we live in such a rule-based society where everybody's so used to having a rule that if you don't have a rule, people wouldn't know what to do. I don't think so, or they wouldn't.
I really think that would be a problem. Like, the reason it says don't put your hands off the side of the road.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's some areas of the world where they don't have to do that, but us having the traffic laws and things we have for so long, I think that we would probably have to. I just would be in favor of none, but I know that's not realistic. I'm a realist, but I still like to have my ideas out there. But yeah, I think as little government as possible is ideal, and there's a permanent trooper between Liz and JC.
Usually 2, because I usually see them. One of them, I don't know the name of the church. There's a church that's near the garden and nursery. Mm-hmm. I don't even know if that garden and nursery is open. There's a church right there. One of them circles in there and then comes back and turns around at the what is that place? It's a Shell station. There's a 45-mile-an-hour speed station I thought that they're watching all the time, and so they try to get you right there at where it turns 45 because they really monitor that. And then if you make it past that trap, they try to get you right coming down in the middle spot. Right if you come down that giant hill next to the flea market, there's usually one waiting in the middle of the turnaround up there. And if you make it past that, you got to worry about one near the drive-in movie theater. And if you make it past that, you got to drive through 9 school zones just to get through Bristol.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. And we talked about on those previous episodes about the damn Pals traffic, Punkin. Oh, I hate the Pals traffic.
I want the burgers back, Pals.
What gives you the right?
Pal Barger is rolling in his grave about the lack of juice on those Pal
We
burgers.
have got places to go in the morning. I know you want your cheddar rounds.
See, if they'd re-add the juice, all those people lined up would die of heart attacks quicker.
Yeah.
And the line would get shorter. And I could have my juicy burger back and die of a heart attack, not plugged up the line, and Cliff wins both ways.
That's right, and I get to work on time.
And I get a tasty burger.
Because I have to pass 2 Pals on my way to work. Now, if the line is bad at the one, then go get something else.
Are they universal?
I know.
The one Elizabeth, that's ridiculous.
All the ones I pass on my way to work and in my route at work are always packed at breakfast and lunchtime. But you can go by at like 9 and you can get right through there. So that's one of the good things about having a mobile office is I can go to Pals when the line's gone and not hold everybody up.
I got an idea. We make a restaurant called GOP. Hear me out. And yes, it is decked out in Trump gear. And yes, it is catered towards Republicans. But it stands for good old Pals. When we make the juicy burger that Pals used to make. And we just happen to sell it to right-wingers at the same time. See, I may be an absurdist when it comes to politics, but I know how to cater for business.
Same one got Punkin twice in one day. Damn.
I think they'd have some sympathy.
You'd think. You remember when they used to have that blue and silver Mustang? They had a blue one and a silver one.
Of them. They had a Charger too.
And they would hide and come out after you, and then for a little while they had about the time Fast and Furious came out, and everybody was trying to make their hot rod Asian vehicles. The Johnson City Police had a confiscated Z24 Cavalier that they had with the turbo on it and lights underneath it, and they would pull it to people and rev the engine at them. and at least I think it was Johnson City Police.
trying to get people to drag
it was some police agency. I don't know that for sure it was Johnson City Police, but I saw him. Well, I mean, I guess if you rev the engine, then that's not necessarily inviting you to race, but I don't know. But I guess that's how they were getting people. But it was about the time that that local young man killed the girl around here, and it was a local controversy.
Do you remember the mannequin that got stolen?
No.
You don't remember the mannequin?
No.
Well, it's probably back in '98. They started setting a cop car random places throughout the county, and it would have a mannequin inside of it, like a police dummy. So you'd drive by, it'd make your heart. They could have just left it empty. Your heart would still leap into your throat when you saw the cop.
Oh, in the car. Yeah. I remember they used to sit that down.
A mannequin in it for effect, and I don't know who did it, but somebody stole it.
Moose says he's the hot dog man, and he knows every stand. If you listen to his track "Hot Dog Man" from his album, I'm a hot dog man. I know every stand. Yeah, and he's a hot dog man. I've brought him gifts of hot dogs before. From Sammy's. Yeah.
Do you enjoy the PAL hot dog? I think the PAL hot dog is a tad too salty when it comes to hot dogs. Personally, I think a salmon dog is actually better than a PAL dog.
Moose likes the salmon dogs because he's asked me to grab him some because I was coming from Elizabeth, and I was happy to oblige. But I think he said, and I agree, that the old salmons did have a little bit better hot dog, but
the old salmons did, because now they started doing they started offering options, because you can get the old link and then you can get the all beef one is what they switched to. If you request the old link, you can get it, but it's I will tell you, it is an inferior dog. It's one of those pink ones you buy in the giant.
Now, I'm a fan of beef dogs. I didn't care, but now, like, if I buy them at home, I buy the Nathan's. They're always $4 at the dollar store. I mean, it's more expensive than regular hot dogs, but a pound of meat's anything you eat.
Beef hot dog is a game changer for you.
Yeah. Hot dog. Needs mayo.
I will tell you,
I can't do mayo on a hot dog.
Yeah,
you do, you Moose.
Burger expert. I'm a burger connoisseur. I've tried every burger across the land, and I will make the perfect burger before I die, because so few people do it correctly.
Tell me.
What's Moose saying wrong? Oh, I don't know how to make
mayo on a.
I'm going to.
Oh.
What's Moose saying ooh about?
I don't know. I guess about pumpkin adding slaw and kraut on the dog. I like a little slaw or kraut on the dog every now and then too. Yeah, it just depends on the mood I'm in. I like those Chicago dogs. I like
Chicago dog. I
those are pretty
that's
good.
All the peppers and weird stuff.
Yeah, those were unveiled at the 1893 World's Fair in Chicago for the first time. Yeah, it's got peppers and relish.
That's a weird technology to hang on to.
Yeah. They unveiled all this electromagnetic technology and the Chicago dog. But man, that thing is good. It stood the test of time. We've moved on to alternating current. Meanwhile, the DC that was unveiled back then that Nikola Tesla designed for the fair has gone the way of, well, I can't think of a hot dog that's gone extinct, but the dodo bird. I think, the dodo bird dog. I think now no more of those around.
Inching closer and closer to
the death. Luther burger. No, I never have. It's like a burger made with donuts, or Krispy Kreme donuts for the bun.
Sounds like too much. Sounds like. Well,
let's see. Let's look it up real quick. The Luther burger.
I'm inching closer and closer to death. Maybe that's one of the things I did. Burger.
I typed it wrong. Yeah, that's what it is.
You didn't get some weird porn site with that.
Luther burger. Yeah, that was German spelling. German Scheiser porn. Yeah.
German Superman porn.
Yeah, Superman taking a dump on.
I try a slaw dog.
Lois.
Now that
I like a slaw dog.
I can't get on kraut though. Kraut bothers me.
There's a Luther burger. Oh, come on.
And it's donuts.
Yeah, it is.
You're not showing the people.
I know. I'm trying.
People cannot see this atrocity.
I'm not cooperating. There we go. Let's try it again.
I don't know if I can do that to myself.
Yeah.
I'm trying to love my body now, and that just seems like a.
What about chicken and waffles? What do you think about that?
I've had chicken and waffles. They're good.
What about? See, now I like chicken and waffles, but. Hardee's has a chicken and waffle sandwich. I don't want to do it just because it doesn't seem right.
Well, the chicken and waffles I had, the only time I've actually tried it, I think I tried it once at like maybe a Cheddar's or something like that.
Yeah.
But the first time I tried it was in California. There's a place called was it Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles?
Yeah.
And you're supposed to eat there. But
yeah.
It's not like a sandwich. It's literally waffles, some chicken fingers or whatever, and then syrup you pour over both at the same time.
Well,
I think we need to
that
stop
sounds
making
good.
like sandwiches out of everything. And I think people are taking it too far, like with desserts and stuff, and it reflects in our diet. Like, for example, if I want a milkshake, I want a chocolate milkshake, right? Just chocolate milkshake. If you go to anywhere now and you say, I want to get a chocolate milkshake, it's got like 9 kinds of chocolate, whipped
Yeah.
cream, an ice cream cone dipped on top
Yeah.
of it, and cherry smash. We're taking things too far. Our food's getting so complicated you can't enjoy it anymore.
I'm a fan of complicated foods, though, man. I like the simple flavor too, though. Like sometimes I want a Chicago dog, and other times I just want a plain hot dog with plain beef
Ketchup
hot
and
dog,
mayonnaise is
or maybe either just plain or maybe with a little mustard, you know. But train wrecked, y'all. Moose says. Oh well, let's keep it on the rails here, Moose. No, let's let it run off the rails. Let's see where it goes. Train wrecked Moose. Moose train wreck Roberts. Pumpkin says, yes, team derail. Yeah, that's right. The chat's derailed, and that's the way we like it. We'll keep you. That's what we want is an active chat.
So
with
where do they sell this Luther burger?
crazy
is it
people.
a specific place that sells it, or is this a thing that other people are mimicking now?
I think supposedly it was Luther Vandross's favorite burger.
Oh, like the Elvis sandwich.
Yeah. The
Okay.
Elvis was what, fried peanut butter and jelly with banana?
At the end of it, it morphed into a 2-pound loaf of bread.
Well, yeah, that's right,
Like a
didn't
whole
it?
2-pound loaf of bread hollowed out with all that crap poured in.
Yeah, didn't he like fly across the country to get this shit somewhere
He
from
would fly his friends to it.
to this diner that got this thing, made this thing just the way Elvis liked it? There it is. The Fool's Gold Loaf. Peanut butter and jelly. I guess there's banana on there too, and bacon looks like.
Bacon, yeah.
I don't see any bananas on it, but this one right here,
It's smushed up in there.
this is one I always heard that Elvis
God.
grilled cheese was the peanut butter and banana and bacon fried, and I heard they made a deep fried one too.
And you think that's why he died on the toilet.
That and the hydrocodone or whatever.
Well, yeah, the hydrocodone does.
Constipated.
hard for you.
Yeah. Whatever opiate he was on. It seems like he was on opiates and barbiturates, and probably probably uppers and downers in addition to that too. I think he did a little bit of all of them through his life. Yeah, it might have been Quaaludes at the time. Hard to say. Let's see.
It doesn't even look good though. Like I understand like becoming excessive
Yeah, I mean, I
wealth, but that doesn't even look good.
don't know. I guess if you did like peanut butter, I think I would like it.
Peanut butter, banana. It's just so much texture. Like it's goo, and then it's meaty paste.
Pumpkin says, I don't think it has shit to do with Luther Vandross. I thought I heard on like the Boondocks that it was named after Luther Vandross, but maybe that's just something they said. Why? Let's look and see. Why is it called the Luther?
Yeah, but y'all still on the Boondocks. LGBT stood for lettuce, gay, bacon, tomato. So let's not start quoting it as gospel. And if we do, I'm hopping aboard that.
Oh yeah, it says it's reportedly. It says it's reportedly named after R&B singer Luther Vandross, and the first mention of it was in a 2006 episode of the Boondocks. Since then, it has become a popular food at various ballparks, state fairs, and county fairs. So apparently, it either never had anything to do with it, and they just named it after that, or maybe. I wonder. I'm interested to know, did he actually like it, or did they just name it after him? It was. The origin is mentioned. They have disputed origin. Mulligan's, a suburban bar in Decatur, Georgia, serves the Luther burger in addition to its ham dog. The ham dog.
Ham dog.
The Daily Telegraph reported that Mulligan's may be the progenitor of the burger when the owner substituted donuts after running out of buns. So maybe not. Did it have anything? It was at least the idea was that it was named after Luther. Lies, he says. Constipation kills. I guess he's talking about lies, or she's talking about lies. Whoever pumpkin spice is. Sorry, I keep.
Doesn't have to look good to taste good. Dating advice.
Yeah. Soup beans good. I think soup beans look good. Actually, I overcooked some and they did not look good, but they were still tasted good. Let's see. Let's get back into Baba Vanga real quick because we're about out of time, and I wanted to just come over and go to this a little bit.
Baba Vanga, the inventor of the donut.
Yeah. So Baba Vanga was a Bulgarian mystic, and she's predicted several things that have come true, several things that haven't come true. But let's check out a few things that she's gotten right here, or Well, she said, let's look at all these. They say she has an 85% success rate on her predictions. In 1980, Baba Vanga said Kursk will be covered with water and the whole world will weep over it, claiming that the disaster would happen in August 1999. And the Russian sub Kursk sank in August 2000, killing all aboard the Kursk nuclear sub disaster. So she said Kursk will be covered with water and the whole world will weep over it. So that's pretty interesting. And she is said to have predicted the rise of the terror group ISIS. I don't know. I'd have to see exactly what she said to see if she predicted the rise of ISIS, because there's so many things that you could say that easily be interpreted, to predict the rise of ISIS, but could also predict the rise of many other groups in the Middle East. The Syrian Gas Attack. Before she died, Baba Vanga warned of a showdown in the country where Muslims would use chemical warfare against Europeans. This was thought to be similar to the suspected gas attack that President Bashar al-Assad launched against his own people. And I don't know about that. They found that actually he didn't even do that. That was actually the ISIS that launched that gas attack in there, and they made it look like Assad. Now he's a bad dude, but
Mark Sommer's food show.
He didn't do that.
Sorry.
Let's see, Brexit. She said, while some conspiracy theorists claim that Vaga predicted Brexit, she actually incorrectly said that Europe will cease to exist by 2017. Something which has obviously not happened. Well, I don't know. I guess you could depend on the way you look at it. A lot of conservative people in Europe say that it has ceased to exist. Because it's far different. There's been a lot of immigration, a lot of cultural changes, a lot of the religious things have been removed from the government there and from their society, and you've actually had, I don't know how much of it's like England, but a lot of like England, if you consider that, even though it's not in mainland Europe, it's definitely a far different place. Big tattletale it's this culture over there. I mean, they've always kind of had that in Europe, but with cameras everywhere, and they have to have a TV license to have a television. You have to get a license and permission. Why don't you? No, tell me.
Because you don't get a choice whether or not you get the BBC. Like, so if you buy a television, you have to pay for a BBC license. And that's what the only reason I know that is because there was a bunch of people online that were mad about the Doctor Who series going quote unquote woke. And the reason people are mad about it, it's one thing to decide you're not going to support Marvel because, I don't like what they're doing now. Well, you can just not go to a movie. What people were mad about is you have to pay for the BBC if you're going to own a TV. So people started getting mad, and they were like, well, fine, I'm not going to own a TV then. And I don't really know if you have a choice about whether or not you pay for that or not. You just, one of those things you do. So that's why people were upset about it, was it's a public service and you're kind of hosing us on what we want to watch.
Yeah, I can understand that. Pumpkin says it started at the ballpark. It was an episode of that Mark Sommer's food show, I think. Sorry, carry on. Thank you for commenting, Pumpkin. You might be right. Yeah, I mean, heck, who knows? I don't know. It was one of those Food Channel shows. I reckon.
Food? I know.
Let's see. Baba Vanga, she also she claimed the 44th president of the United States would be black. And she also said that he would be the last president. But you can't get them all right. That's pretty good, though, to claim that the 44th president was black and then turned out he was. That's a pretty good prediction. I mean, if you get 85% right, that's pretty good, right? I mean, John Teeter and even Edgar Casey, the famous, prophets of kind of the modern era, they didn't even get that much right as a percentage. But Baba Vanga, she claimed in 1989 that the American brethren will fall after being attacked by steel birds and innocent blood will be gushing. Some people believe this is a reference to the September 11th attack on the U.S.
There's a problem with that.
That could be like Nostradamus' one, where it's like the towers will be aflame. Like there's been tons and tons of two towers and tons of towers have gotten burned.
Nostradamus, he wrote so much.
Yeah, that's true too. I mean, eventually, and he wrote it thousands of years ago. Eventually, some of that stuff's going to pass if you're not specific about when exactly it's going to happen and what the events precipitating it are. Let's see. Baba Vanga also says Vladimir Putin will win this 2018 election. In 1979, During a meeting with writer Valentin Sidorov, Vanga said, "All will thaw as if ice, only will remain untouched." And she referred to Vladimir's glory of Russia. And she said, before her death, Russia will not only survive, it will dominate the world. That's why I wanted to bring this up today.
Is she dead?
She is dead. She died in, I think, 1996. Oh, man. Have you seen this guy doing this satire rap? Let me see.
What? Baba Vanga dying? That'd be a weird, very specific rap.
Let's see here. Here we go. Alex Stein, he's a comedian. I'll show you this here in just a second, as long as the display capture works. But Baba Vanga, she prevented that, or she predicted that Russia will dominate the world. Too much is brought in a victim. Nobody can stop Russia, she said. All will be removed from her by the way, and not only will be kept, but also becomes the Lord of the world. All will be removed from her from the way, and not only will be kept, but also become Lord of the world. And she says Vladimir Putin is going to rule the world one day.
We still need to do my favorite.
She said that Europe will be turned into a nuclear wasteland devoid of life. So let's hope she's not continually 85% right, or if she is, she at least meets that part, or misses that part.
Next week.
Now let me pull up.
Pending you don't come up with something better, or I don't. I want my topic to be nuclear bombs aren't real.
Nuclear bombs aren't real. Okay.
Yeah, the nuke may be fake.
Nos needed a hot dog. I don't know what that means.
I might need a hot dog when I go home now. All this dog talk.
I kind of would like one too. Oh yeah, here we go. I was waiting on this guy right here.
What the heck is he doing?
I'll just wait. I'll show you right quick. I don't think we'll watch the whole thing, but
ironically done.
oh no.
Oh
No, this guy's a comedian.
okay.
Let's see if we can get it to work.
Into rapping for Jesus moment or not.
Come on, hotkeys. Let's work. Do it now. Let's work. Let's see. Display capture is turned on. Not picking up anything. Yeah, we're just on YouTube, but we need to get to other platforms, but we want to go where people are going to watch us.
The Twitch, or just
would you watch us on Twitch, Pumpkin? Because
you'd rather watch us on Twitch.
Because I want to
think about branching out.
Yeah, we've been wanting to do a couple different things. We just want to make sure where people are at. See, look at there. It's turned on.
So right now we're only on YouTube, but
oh, you know what I bet it is?
what are you doing? You got everything blind?
I bet the Discord was blocking it out. Let's move this down here.
But we're going to branch out to other stuff.
Yeah, we're looking at different platforms, but we want to get where people actually are, because it's basically beyond. I did find a plugin for my program that I can use to go out to multiple platforms, but I have to find one that will let me live stream for free. I think Twitch is probably the only other one, besides maybe DLive, that you can live stream for free on. Gab TV, you have to pay. Rumble, I'm not sure about that. Pumpkin says you're going to Salmon's tomorrow. Rappin' Rodney. Now there's I don't know Rappin' Rodney, but I've seen old Randy, what's his name? From downtown Johnson City.
Who?
Randy, gosh, I can't remember his last name. Aaron Armageddon, are you out there? What's Randy's last name from Johnson City? I've seen him throw down a mean rap and some rock and roll. Rock and roll Randy Walden, that's his name. Yeah, so let's see here if this is working right now. All right, looks like it is. So let's check out real quick Alex Stein doing his going to a city council in Texas.
You got it muted.
Oh, thank you.
They call me Primetime 99 Alex Stein. Hope you guys like my flavor.
Is he going to echo because of these?
Mine.
Oh, it's good.
Primetime 99 on the grind all the time. Go insane for Ukraine. A bullet in Putin's brain.
Hang on. It's not the original one. I want to do the original one. I don't want somebody putting their own shit in it. I just want to see the video. I just want to see the video of him doing it. Let's see. Here we go. This will be the easy way to do it here. Oh, come on.
Just do the original. Or the top one.
I guess we can see what it's got.
Hey, I'm Dave.
Oh, come on. See, this is remixing God Suede remix. See, I was trying to find the one that he actually did there.
Could you just go into actual YouTube? And
Yeah, I guess I need to.
Alex Stein.
Yeah, I'll probably find it.
Like in one way, I hate this new world, but another way, it's like I think it's so beautiful.
It's the only way you're gonna see stuff like this. Let's see here.
You see the best absurd is to get past all this logic bullshit.
Is Alex Stein.
Hello, Council. My name's Primetime99 Alex Stein, and I have a little presentation for you today. I have a little audio accompaniment, but I just want to take a moment to think about the people of Ukraine and what they're going through.
Plano,
So I
Texas,
prepared a little song for them. Let me turn this on. I really want to try to help the people out there. Okay, guys? So let me just get it going. They call me Primetime99 Alex Stein. Hope you guys like my flavor. Come on.
His microphone's overdriven, so this is gonna sound like shit.
On the grind all the time. Go insane for Ukraine. A bullet in Putin's brain. I'm time, always on the grind, always gotta shine. And you know it's no lie. What? Oh, excuse me. Come on, audio. Where are we going? Now we're going. Now we're cooking, guys. I got it turned down a little bit. It's prime time. Let's start that one more time, guys. Come on in the audience. Let's vibe tonight. It's prime time. Officer, you know I'm on the grind. You know gas prices are way too high. Putin's got to die. Put a bullet in Putin's head. Yeah, that's what I said. I'm a freak for the vaccine. Vaccinate my body at the party. Sipping Bacardi. I'm the proof when I'm in a booth. Spitting on the mic. It's anti-vax. Putin hates all of them blacks. Putin is a bad racist. Put him in the ground, white or brown. And I'm in Plano town. And you know you just got found. I'm a pimp on a blimp. Unless a steak is shrimp. No, you can't stop my shine. I'm number 99. And you know I grind and shine. And you know I do it all the time. One more time, I'm teaching class. This is your host, Zelensky. It's a VIP. You crazy and go insane. Put a bullet in Putin's brain. You know that is the plan. I'm Zelensky saying, I love you, Vladimir Zelensky. You are so smart. What's that smell? Did somebody fire? No way. What can you say? Vaccinate me straight or gay. I love you, and I love to rhyme and grind all the time. And you got that sanitizer, and you know I got that Pfizer. You know I stick it in my vein. Put a bullet in Putin's brain. Do it for the Ukraine before I go insane. Let me antibacterial my body at the party. Sipping Bacardi, you know the flow. And I am a pimp, cause I am on the blimp. Eating lots of steak and shrimp. One more time, I'm 99. And you know I grind and shine. Gas prices way too high. Vladimir Putin needs to die. Gas prices way too high. Vladimir needs to die. I'm the truth in the booth. Take a picture. I'm a winner. I'ma eat you for dinner. Okay. I just want to say, I love you. We need to take out Vladimir Putin. Like Lindsey Graham said, thank you, Mayor Mons. I appreciate the time. Peace. God bless you all.
Now,
Primetime Stein.
the reason I like this stuff so much is because it's obviously not good because society can't run if everybody thinks that they got to have their 15 minutes of fame rapping in front of Congress. But politicians have been held to such a high standard for so long. It's about time they reach a level where people are like, you know what? You're going to get trolled at every corner of every day until this position is respectable again. Because I think that's really what it comes down to. Is
Yeah.
like political seats are so disrespected that people are like, you know what? It's almost like news anchors. Like news anchors had this thing for so long that they could just like stand in front and nobody could bother the thing that people started doing that F them in the pussy thing.
Yeah.
So much that news anchors are looking,
Oh, man,
looking over their
God.
shoulder. That's where politicians are now. You got to worry
Yeah.
about whether or not you're being trolled by a real journalist or not.
Yeah. Yeah, those were pretty. I mean, they were pretty hilarious the first couple times when that original guy did it, and he managed to do it like 4 times. The guy with the glasses and the pervert beard.
And then they started saying, they were like, this sexist asshole. So these like girls out jogging started doing it too.
How did he manage to get him to do? How did he do it 4 times? That original guy that started the whole thing, he did it 4 times. Got on TV and said that. Oh
I had to know
man.
where they want to be. I
Yeah.
It was a small town because I saw the people in front of the cross. I see WJHL every
Yeah, he managed to get that. How did he get them? He looked different, slightly different in each one, but you'd think they would have recognized him. Yeah, he did,
Gotta have a perfect
and he succeeded at least 4 times. Oh, we talked the Devilites. We didn't even get into those.
Oh.
No, let's do that on a different episode because that's
You
a whole
sure?
story. Do you want to? Because it's 11:36. We're kind of at the part of the episode where not many people hang around this long.
Well, we got 5 people still.
Do we? Okay. Well, let's go into it real quick. Let's do it quick because it
I'll
was
give you the
good.
background,
Okay.
and then you can tell me more about him because I never met the fella.
Okay.
I do remember I worked in a music store. I was downtown at the time, and that was at the beginning of the early days of the car show. All right. Fella would bring his car down there, and it did have a few things on it, like I think it said "My Little Bitch" was down at the below,
It
like the
said,
driver's side
yeah,
or
my
something
little
like
bitch.
that.
And it said, ride me, ride free.
Yeah.
And what else did it say? 666.
Yeah. Well, see, that was the thing that people were getting bent out of shape was the devil symbolism.
Yeah.
And if they had focused on just, hey, do you mind not having maybe this right here, I think maybe they would have gotten more of a better response out of him. But I remember seeing the way people were coming down on this guy, that it was more about, we don't want your evil looking car down here around our kids. And so they projected all their anger on that whole, he's bringing a devil atmosphere down here. So rather than them having a because in a way I agreed, there's a lot of kids down there at the car show, maybe not have the bitch word down there at the bottom. Mm-hmm. But you can't tell them they can't put like a Grim Reaper on top of their car, and you can't tell him that he can't make it look spiky and have horns. And so in a lot of ways, they created that guy because he kept coming back every week with a crazier looking vehicle. And then when they started having, I think it was like a judgment house across the street from his house at a church, he decided to have like the Satan's house or something like that on his,
Yeah.
the lots on.
Yeah.
My point was, a lot of ways, Elizabethan had created that guy because every time he did something, they overreacted to the point way more than they should have. If they would have just said, hey, maybe not have bitch on your car, I think they would have been way better off. I think they wouldn't have had a fight.
Well, I went down and I just happened to talk to this cat a couple times. I can't find any pictures of his car on the internet here, but I'll show you a Mercury Montego, which is what he originally had. So what had happened is, like Tim said, it was down at the car show in Elizabethton, and this fella, he had a Mercury Montego that he had chopped up, and I forget what year it was, maybe 1970, 1968 maybe. I think it was 1968, Mercury Montego. And he had chopped it up and took the front doors out of it, took the front doors off, and he put the driver's seat in the back and had an extended steering column welded on where he drove it from the back seat. He had taken the front bumper off, and he'd given it teeth and put horns and put a bunch of satanic stuff on it and stuff. And it was a pretty it's a car that's really stood out. So I stopped to talk to him one day and ask him about the car, because he was standing out by the road. So I just pulled over and said, hey, how's it going? He had both these cars out there, and he was washing them and stuff. And he told me that when he went to this car show in Elizabethton, that he got a lot of attention down there, because when you go to a car show, there's a lot of 57 Chevys, you know, there's a lot of, 68 Chevelles.
Brand new Mustangs for some reason, which they're nice, but
but a lot of the same classic cars, are pretty popular, and people tend to fix up a lot of the similar models. The more rare ones, I guess, or the more of what you see in the car shows, the ones that people that are more sought after. So this guy, he's gone down there, according to him, with his Mercury Montego. I'm gonna try to figure out what model it is, what year it is, and show you a picture. I think this is it, a 1970. This looks like it right here. But he had this Mercury Montego that he had chopped up to look like a devil car. He had horns and let me find the right camera here. Had horns and all kinds of stuff on it, and I don't know. It's kind of like if you watch Trailer Park Boys, 8 Hours Custom. It wasn't the best. The most professional job.
it's more of a rat rod.
Yeah,
It's still interesting,
yeah.
for all the work that he did to it.
Yeah. How do I close this? Where did this come from? Get out of here. What?
Technology I'm not used to.
Bill Gates is trying to get his way in here. That was some kind of Microsoft program that popped up out of there. And Bill Gates, he's always trying to find a way to get into what we're doing, doesn't he? Let's see here. Or maybe they could have just left him the hell alone, told their kids that expressing yourself the way you want is a great thing, but cheers to freedom. But no. Yeah, I'm going to get into that. What they did...
I agree, they should have left him alone.
What
made it worse.
What they ended up doing... Here's the Mercury Montego. What they ended up doing was telling this guy, according to him, his car was getting more attention due to the fact that it was original and different. So people came to these car shows, and they're used to seeing 57 Chevys. They're used to seeing, whatever it may be, 68 Chevelles, 63 Stingray.
There are a lot of nice cars. That one
Mm.
stuck out because it wasn't a perfectly restored Model A Ford or something.
Yeah, Model A's. It's all the same things that you generally see in these car shows. There's like 20, 30 cars that you see over and over again. So that this he's got something different, and he said that a lot of people down there were upset with him that he'd cut it up, and they didn't like that what have you done to this poor car? Well, it's his fucking car, but he made it into his own thing, and they didn't like it, so they started asking him they told him he couldn't leave. They told him he couldn't participate anymore. Well, according to him, he went and said, "Hey, I've got every right to participate in this," and they agreed. No, you can't kick him out of this, right? So he goes down there, and then the city comes along and gives him tickets because apparently, he doesn't have a bumper on the car, which is illegal in the state of Tennessee to drive without a bumper on the car. Whatever happened to him in his old cars and stuff, I don't know. I've not seen him in years, but he was up there on 19E, and he after he was ticketed, I think he said they towed his car. And he had to go get it out and put a bumper on it to take it home. So he took it home, and he parked it up there by the highway. And then he started building other cars. He got a bunch of different Dodge and Mopar cars, Dodge truck. He had like 3 or 4 different cars at one time that he had taken up there and chopped up and made into devil cars. And he said, what was it he said to me? He said, "They're just cars. They ain't gonna eat nobody." He said. Now, he also said that he was reached out to by the church next to him, and they told him they wanted him to move his stuff. Evidently, according to him, he had been donating money to that church for years because he said they helped little kids and stuff like that. So he didn't go to church, but he said he donated money to them, and they told him they wanted him to move that stuff. And what was it he said? He said, "I don't believe in God or the devil or none of it, but if the devil was to pop up here and make me choose and tell me to choose between him and that church, I'd go with him." That's the way they done me. And but he said, but it was after he said that he got into it with that church, and people started driving by and throwing liquor bottles at him, and he said all kinds of cussing at him and throwing stuff at him, and you could see there was trash and liquor bottles thrown all over the road near his house there. He said they'd throw them at him and throw them at his stuff. Josh says, "Was this the guy on the right just before the double bridges?" Yeah. Well, eventually he put up a bunch of lights after that, and this is his story, or this is him telling this to me after they started throwing liquor bottles and cussing him and driving by and shooting guns in the middle of the night. That's when he started putting up these lights that said Satan's house, and it was he put up the Satan lights, and he was trying, when I talked to him, he was trying to get somebody to give information to Jay Leno, because he wanted Jay Leno with his garage and his car show to take interest in him and to share his plight with the car community. But evidently Jay Leno never did that. I did take he asked me if I did email, and this was, I don't know what, 15 years ago maybe, something like that.
It's been a while.
And I did. So he asked me if I would send them to Jay Leno, and I did send some pictures and papers that he gave me to Jay Leno for him. I never heard a response from it, but I sent that to him for him because he asked me if I would, and I told him I would. But Pumpkin says need to do a follow up on him. Yeah, I'd like to find out what happened to him. But he was a nice enough guy.
That was an unnecessary problem. Like I said, the city made that happen. They all the issues that he had that were totally avoidable, they didn't have to handle it that way.
No. And that's the story of the Satan House guy. But according to him, if there's more than one side to every story, but just taking his story at face value, a lot of that does jive with what I saw at the time. So that's the story of that guy, and we should do a follow-up on him, see if we can figure out any information on him. I don't remember his name, and that was
Put it out there.
That was years ago.
Satan
And
House guy.
yeah, put it out there. If anybody knows where the Satan House guy went, we'd like to. We'll have a chat with him if he's available. If not, we'll find out what happened with him and at least try to share it with some of our viewers who are interested, because I'm interested. But no, I've not seen from that guy in a while. But let's get back to Baba Vanga real quick, because we're pushing on midnight, I'd say now. Yeah, we're at 11:47 here on Sunday the 20th.
Baba Vanga.
Yeah, so Baba Vanga, we got to that she predicted Vladimir's glory of Russia, World War III, that Russia would dominate the world. She said that there would be a nuclear war, and Europe would be turned into a wasteland devoid of life. She said that Moscow's political heavies has even warned to the that was from the news article. She says that Europe, as we know it, will cease to exist by the end of this year. This article's from 2017, and as we said earlier, a lot of people could argue that Europe is, as you know it, was, as people who grew up there, has ceased to exist. The European Union has, destroyed a lot of the culture and a lot of the individual.
Do you know about the what they call the Arab car culture in the summertime?
Tell me about it.
Well, in a nutshell, in the summertime, to get away from the Arab heat, a lot of the princes, because I think a lot of people think there's like just small amount of princes, but there's like 10,000 millionaire princes that come from the Arab Emirates. And a lot of them have figured out that with all that money, they can get out of the desert when it's at its hottest and go to London and places like that to escape the heat. And they have so much money that they're not just going to fly into London and stay for a few weeks just to stay there. They're billionaires. So they take the time to fly in their super expensive sports cars. And so for a 2-month period, London is just filled with V8 engines going boom, 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 pulled up next to each other, sizing up their engines. And they're the most ridiculous cars you can imagine, because they're owned by billionaires who don't even come from like that kind of wealth. They're like new wealth billionaires. So the cars are all decked out in gold. And one of them I saw was looked like a Maserati or something, but it had 8 wheels. They had 2 front tires, 4 and 4. It's just these most absurd cars. And they'll ship them out, because they have enough money to ship their car to London, and they all drive around, for the weeks that they're there. So that's not necessarily a harmful way London has changed. But when you're talking about like a city that's supposed to look like the streets of Harry Potter, and now all of a sudden for 8 weeks it looks like, Fast and Furious, I'd say the old British people are pretty pissed about that change.
Baba Vanga also produced a great Muslim war which has been recently linked to the
Arab Spring.
she predicted the Arab Spring also, that it would begin, that there would be a Muslim invasion of Europe by extremists, and she predicted it would begin with the Arab Spring in 2010. You could there are definitely some who would categorize the immigration, the mass immigration of Muslims, refugees, and regular immigrants into Europe as an invasion. There you hear a lot of that rhetoric is particularly from the conservatives in Europe. I mean in France and England.
Mm.
And also places like Holland, and even Germany too. So some people would say she was right about that. There definitely has been a rise in Muslim population in Europe. Let's look at a couple of her predictions for 2022. According to Baba Vanga, even with all we had in 2020 and 2021, 2022 will bring much more drama. A virtual reality takeover for the coming year. Another pandemic, this time in Siberia, is according to the Mirror.
Oh, she didn't predict virtual reality. That's a huge prediction, Baba.
Yeah.
She could. What a genius.
Well, for the coming year, well, the metaverse did kick off this past year, and you do see more and more stuff coming in the metaverse, and people are paying well, I say actual money, but
aliens with the arrival of an asteroid.
Yeah, she's gone pretty big on these ones, haven't she?
Hellbop here.
They've definitely been prepping us for seeing aliens over the last few years with all these people in the military saying that they're real and stuff like that. We're real, but we don't know what to do about them. All that kind of stuff. So we've seen more of that. So real quick, we'll look into a couple more of her predictions here. Famine in India due to a drop in temperatures that will result in locusts attacking crops. More earthquakes and tsunami with intense amounts of flood in Australia and parts of Asia. She also predicted global hunger will be eradicated between 2025 and 2028. China will overtake the U.S. as a superpower. So which is it, Bob? Is it going to be China or Russia? Polar ice caps will melt from 2033 to 2045, and ocean levels will rise.
A lot of her predictions with Russia taking over are probably pretty biased because she was alive during the Cold War and probably really wanted Russia, her homeland, to prevail in the end.
Yeah, Bulgaria was part of the Soviet Union if this happened during the 20s for most of her life. The Soviet Union was short. The Bolsheviks took them over in 1918.
A colony on Mars.
Colony on Mars will enable the planet to become a nuclear power and demand independence from Earth around 2170 to 2256. Now, it's pretty easy for me to say that. I should start making some predictions for, like 2250.
The universe will end in 50, 70. You know what my prediction is? My prediction is... Oh, I got it. Here's the ultimate conspiracy. I think they're afraid. They want us to believe that the one world government is evil because in the end, a one world government used to exist and it was a harmonious one. So they want us to think a one world government would be the worst thing ever. That was dumb. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was dumb.
No. I'm doubling down. It's not dumb. It's genius. Go for it, Will.
Okay, it's genius, but maybe you're right. But the people who are implementing the one world government make me to believe that you're not. But yeah, I think that's pretty much. The universe will end in 5079. Hey guys, I predict that we are all going to be dead within 200 years. That's my prediction. Tim?
I predict I'm going to take a wicked crap in the morning.
Man, this guy, we'll have to wait and see how this plays out.
My predictions will always come true.
I don't know which one we're on. I forgot. I think we're on that one.
Are these predictions validated? Many of them are not. Many of them contradict each other.
No, I'd say I don't know who said how they could say she had 85% right and then have all this in the same article. But she did have some interesting ones right that Barack Obama, the 44th president, she said would be black. That's pretty specific. When you give me some specific stuff, I'm a little more impressed than when you say stuff. But if you just write pages and pages of the shit, I could make some predictions for stuff too. And then if some of them, I guarantee some of them would come right. I've got a few right on this show. So it's not because I'm a psychic though. It's just because I look at different ways that things could turn out and offer my opinion on them. that may have been what Baba Vanga did too, and probably since she got a few things right, was that people probably were convinced that she was a psychic. What else do you got going on for you as a poor blind girl if people are following you around and showering you with gifts because you've got to guess a couple of things right? Then
I'll keep guessing.
Yeah, I'm going to fall right into that persona if I'm Baba Vanga and I don't have to clean chimneys and floors anymore.
Practice too, if you get good at something. I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah, but yeah, it's and Vladimir's glory, the glory of Russia. She says that's pretty interesting prophecy too, because Vladimir Putin, he was on the world stage because he was head of the KGB.
What if this is just this website making shit up?
Well, this is New York Post.
Oh, there we go. The
Sun. Yeah. The New York Post was in the news recently because they were the ones that broke that Hunter Biden laptop story. Well, just recently, over the past few days, the New York Times has vetted that everything in their story and more was true, that laptop actually was Hunter Biden's, and there's all kinds of awful stuff on it. If it's to be believed that that Hunter was engaging in some of the behavior that we talked about last week with underage people in there. Now, this is according to folks who have had the laptop and been able to examine the files on it. I've not seen any of this, but there apparently there's some bad pictures of his niece on there, his dead brother's daughter, whose mother he was banging.
Yeah, Biden stuff's pretty dark if you start researching it too much. I try to stay away from.
Well, it is, but I mean, just the idea that saying that any of that was real could get you banned from Twitter, from Facebook, from YouTube, and it's once again one of those things that get you banned 6 months ago turns out to be true, and that's why I always try to push that really before you react emotionally to a story. Wait for a minute and just see how it plays out. See what new information comes out. Yeah, but then again, we kind of all knew that the Hunter story was valid, I think, at the time because of the way they censored it. That pretty much, and that's the bad thing about it. When you
there was so much available too. There was so many images coming out on the. Yeah, it was obvious that it was. There was so many images coming out on the online threads and stuff that they would have had to have been photoshopping at a crazy rate to be making all these different angles and stuff that were available.
Yeah, we pretty much were able to confirm its validity at the time, but then again, you had when you tear out a man's throat, you don't silence him, or you don't prove him wrong, you just prove that you fear what he has to say, or when you silence a man, you don't prove him wrong, just that you fear what it is he has to say, something like that. I can't remember the exact quote, but I think that's true, because at least for me, if you start censoring something, that's what I immediately look to is, why would they not want me to see this? What kernel of truth can be gleaned from whatever the story is? But anyway, it's midnight. Let's get the hell out of here. The Baba Vanga, I'm not real impressed by it, but I thought it was a couple of interesting ones that she did get right. So I thought I'd bring up that.
I'm already starting a cult called the Cult of Baba Vanga. If y'all want to meet next Wednesday, we're pretty much just going to sit around with blindfolds and try to predict the future.
We're going to just do the Gonsfield experiment constantly. Hey, that'd be another one for us to do for the show, Tim. Let's do the Gonsfield experiment. You ever done that?
I don't think so.
Okay, apparently, if you take a couple of ping pong ball and you cut it in half, and I think you draw X's on it, maybe not, but anyway, you put this ping pong ball over your eyes. Okay. And you sit in pretty sure you sit in a dark room and you put white noise like a radio static. Shh. You sit in there and you're apparently supposed to start having visions. My friend Jamie used to play my bass. He and my friend Jordan did it one night, and both had pretty intense experiences. So I don't know if we want to do it live or not. Who knows what the hell we might do. Jamie said, he got it felt like something took over his body for a while. But
I have another idea. Let's do that, but before we do it, a couple hours before, let's drink entire bottles of Robitussin DM, and then we'll do it from there.
Well, maybe you do that, and I'll be the control, and we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Yeah, and Tim has got the Illuminati card game, which we'll be doing a video where we got to figure out. It's a pretty involved role playing game, so we got to figure out how that plays exactly. If you ever played Magic the Gathering or anything like that, you know how involved it can be, or even Pokemon. You know how involved some of these games can be. So we've got to figure that out. And we are going to play the Illuminati NWO card game. We're going to do that. We'll probably have Goff and Drew and Aaron Armageddon come and join us to do that. Viewer of the show, Aaron. He said he's been down to play it. And we're also going to do a Randonaut adventure on one of our upcoming episodes. So I hope you will join us for that. And we appreciate you. If you're still with us, if you have not subscribed and hit the notification bell, please do. If you have not shared this with anyone else who you think might like to watch it, please do so. And comment in the chat, comment in the comments after the video is over. Just interact with the channel. We'd really appreciate it. That'll help us get it to more people. We kind of had a drop off in viewerships as long as we're not doing like these catchy titles. Our viewers aren't very high on them through the week. So we'd be much appreciated if you'd share it with somebody who's local and you think might enjoy it, who might like to get in on the conversation. We appreciate you joining us, Punkin. It's nice to have you in here for this for your first night, and we will look at what we have to do to get into Twitch, because I think that would be a good idea to get onto more platforms, and I'm pretty sure Twitch is a free one that we can do. So thank you for the suggestion, and thank you for joining us. Tim, anything else to add tonight?
That's it.
All right, words of wisdom from Tim. Have a good night, everybody.